Have you ever tried to quit weed before and failed? And be honest. See, a lot of people have no problem with weed, and if that's you, this video is probably not for you. But if you're like 9% of daily smokers, you have trouble quitting weed. You need to quit weed for your job, or you need to quit weed for your education, you need to quit for your physical health, or you need to quit for your mental health. Maybe you feel like marijuana is changing your personality, or the most common reason is you feel like marijuana is holding you back in life. That is the most common reason people quit marijuana. Apathy is holding you back. Apathy is that whole attitude of I don't care, I don't give a shit. And the problem with that is you do care, you do give a shit, but it's marijuana that makes you not care. End result is you end up with a life you don't care about. And as soon as you stop smoking and wake up, which will happen one day, it comes down on you like a ton of bricks and it causes depression, all sorts of things, and most likely it makes you go back to marijuana. So you've probably recognized this in your own life and it makes you want to quit weed. But you have trouble quitting weed, and there's a ton of reasons why. You may have trouble sleeping without weed, especially that first night. People just sort of stare at the ceiling all night, they don't actually get some sleep, and that can be an excuse people use to go back to marijuana. And if you smoke weed every single day, you're kind of doing it just to feel normal. So as soon as you take it away, you don't feel normal anymore. A lot of people feel socially alone without weed, and this is usually because every one of your friends smokes weed, so it's hard to find that new tribe. Eating at regular times without weed can be very difficult. You don't feel hungry when you probably should. Stronger emotions without weed. Social anxiety, maybe you feel angry. Maybe you have that short temper, you're a bit more snappy. Depression. There's mental fog when you quit weed. And basically the problem here is it's fine to be a little bit dopey, a little bit slow, a little bit behind the times when you're stoned. But when you stop smoking weed, you want to get that clarity, focus, and motivation back very quickly. And sometimes it doesn't happen as quick as you think. So I hear about a lot of people that smoke weed and 2 weeks, a month, a couple months after they quit, they still have that mental haziness, that mental fog. And it can be difficult, right? Because smoking marijuana relieves these problems straight away. And one of the biggest problems people have is replacing marijuana with another habit. If you have a compulsive addictive personality, that can be the reason you've got this marijuana problem. But you actually need to replace a marijuana habit. You can't just quit something that you feel psychologically addicted to. And it's really important that you don't replace marijuana with something worse, like alcohol, cigarettes, or any other harder drugs. And please don't think I'm having a go at you, I did this. I smoked weed for 13 years, every single day. I also sold weed. I was the guy with weed. So if I didn't have it, nobody had it, right? And it didn't cost me anything. So I just developed this massive marijuana habit. And it was only when I tried to quit that I realized I couldn't. And it was literally the last 3 years of smoking that I was trying to quit weed. And the weirdest thing, back in the day I would have never imagined that I would end up helping people quit weed, because I made so many people not only start smoking weed, but also really up their habit and start smoking weed every single day. That's why I now help people quit weed. It's kind of a karma thing for me. So far we've helped over 10,000 people quit weed, and I just hope that I help more people quit weed than I helped get into weed back in the day. That's my goal. So I know what it's like to kind of have mixed feelings about quitting marijuana. Of course you're going to have mixed feelings. You want to quit because you're being held back in so many different ways. But at the same time, you are the average of the closest 5 people you hang around. Every single thing about you is defined by the closest 5 people you hang around. If you hang around 5 fat guys all day, you're going to end up fat. If you hang around 5 rich guys all day, you're going to end up rich. If you end up hanging around 5 stoners all day, every single day, what do you think you're going to become? So how do we help you quit weed? What we do is change the belief system you have about marijuana so that you can gain control. And this isn't something about willpower. Willpower does not work. It doesn't work. You can't consistently, forever, for the rest of your life, go against something you want to do. Here's the reason why willpower doesn't work. Willpower is ego depletion, or willpower depletion. And what it means is willpower uses a certain type of energy in your body and you have a limited supply of it. Using willpower, controlling your thoughts, controlling your emotions, controlling your actions, controlling your decisions, controlling your temptations, they draw on the same resource. They pick the same energy and you have a limited supply of that type of energy. So as you stack these on top of each other and you attempt to overcome many temptations that all use the same type of energy, you run out. There's science behind this. There's many scientific tests they have done. For example, after people resist temptation, they are more likely to give up on a difficult puzzle. Why? Because they feel more stressed and they are less happy. We're also not going to use the technique of avoidance. It's easy to smoke weed if you have no weed, but you can't use the avoidance tactic. Eminem says, marijuana is everywhere. Where were you brought up? You know, a lot of people write to me saying, Seb, I just need to move to another city for 3 months, or go on holiday for 6 weeks, or whatever they say. But that's escapism. It's not going to work because you cannot avoid marijuana for life. You know, I've often said when I smoke weed, you could drop me in any city in the world, and probably that day I'll find some weed. I don't even think a language barrier could have stopped me when I smoked weed. What else is stopping you? Well, if you're still brainwashed by all your stoner buddies and you think marijuana has no physical symptoms when you quit, allow me to clarify it. Marijuana is psychologically addictive, but it's stronger than your average psychological addiction because it changes your mental state instantly and reliably. It is not very physically addictive. But the reason it's so difficult to quit for some people is because it gives you physical symptoms when you quit. You know, do you have trouble sleeping when you quit marijuana? Do you have trouble eating at regular times when you quit marijuana? These are the physical symptoms that sometimes people use as excuses to go back to marijuana. So if you have trouble quitting weed, you need to deal with the psychological addiction. But there's also this physical side, and you can overcome the physical side if you flush your body of the built-up metabolites of marijuana. And a marijuana detox is the easiest way to deal with physical symptoms when you quit. So if you would just like to quit weed and move forward in your life, get ahead with all these things that marijuana is stopping you from doing, whether it's putting a ceiling on your income, whether it's halting you in your career or your education, or your relationships are just shallow and limited. You know, there is a million different mild problems with marijuana, whether it's stealing your motivation every day or changing your personality to its core. If you're having trouble finding the damn keys, if you're one of these forgetful sort of people and that's your reputation and that's who you've become, I want you to not worry about it. As soon as you stop smoking marijuana and it's out of your system, your memory will bounce back to 99% of what it was before you started smoking weed. The only reason it won't be 100% is because you're older now, but we have tons of techniques to make your memory even better than it was before you started smoking weed. If you have trouble handling anger, sadness, depression, you know, you've used marijuana to handle emotions and now you get rid of it and all these things flood in. You have a very low emotional intelligence. How's your stress? Marijuana stops you from developing stress tolerance. And it's the same thing as emotional intelligence. You're using marijuana to deal with stress, so when you take the weed away, you have a harder time dealing with the stress. It always makes sense. Whatever marijuana gives you with one hand in the short term, it is taking away from you with the other hand in the long term. If marijuana is overtaking these important things in your life, you absolutely need to stop smoking the stuff. By the way, how to quit weed without withdrawals or sleepless nights, or how to easily control your marijuana habit? Use Quit Marijuana the Complete Guide. It absolutely has higher success rates than 12-step programs put on by secretive organizations like Narcotics Anonymous, you know the ones. They don't work because you just have meetings with people that smoke weed. You're hanging around stoners, and what does that mean? We know what it means. And that's why the Complete Guide is more successful. You can do this in your own time, from home, without hanging around stoners. Click the link below to check it out. It diffuses your psychological triggers, and most importantly, it will stop your cravings for weed. Look it up, do your research on it. There is tons of positive feedback and testimonials all over the web. It also comes with Natural Marijuana Detox, which is a complete detox program. This helps you overcome those physical symptoms when you quit. You know, detox is more important with marijuana than many harder drugs because the metabolites of marijuana actually store within the fat cells of your body, which means they stay there for months. If you smoke weed daily, you won't have marijuana out of your body for over 3 months unless you do a marijuana detox. So Natural Marijuana Detox is an extremely successful and popular program. It also comes with Life After Marijuana audio program, which has also helped many people quit marijuana in its own right. You also get Quit Marijuana the video program, which is the newest program we have released, and you don't have to quit weed to go through this video program. You can actually sit there, smoking weed, watching the videos, and it will change your belief system about marijuana so that you can quit on your own. You don't have to be forced to do it. This is the most successful quit marijuana program on the internet you will find. Do your research on it. It definitely works. There are no more excuses. I'm passionate about this because I know where my life was heading on marijuana, and I know where my life headed as soon as I quit weed. Don't complicate the situation thinking, oh, do I have a problem? Do I not have a problem with marijuana? If you're pondering that question, you definitely have a problem with marijuana. But the easiest way to figure out if you have a problem is to stop overcomplicating it. If you have ever tried to quit weed before and you've failed, you need a helping hand to quit. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, but with marijuana there's very little help out there. So don't miss this opportunity. Click the link below this video. I can't wait to help you get started, guys. My name is Sebastian Grant, and as soon as you make a commitment and take some action, I'll talk to you again very, very soon.